Welcome to Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight. My name is Pete Wright, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by Xavier Ayala. He's a digital business transformation strategist at pharmaceutical company Esteve Pharmaceuticals. Welcome to the show, Xavier.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. I mean, it's a pleasure for me to be in this podcast, and just gonna talk about how Esteve Pharmaceuticals has implemented this wonderful solution from BI Insight.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to do that. To set the stage for us a little bit, why don't you tell us a little bit about Esteve? Who are your customers in IT? Tell us a little bit about your the teams at Esteve and the challenges that you're facing that you're working to solve for them.
So I'm gonna basically start from saying that the amount of information that a pharmaceutical company generates is growing year after year. So we're dealing with great amounts of information, documentation, regulated documentation, etc. And basically, this one of the main challenges and one of the main problems that we're facing is the fact that the users and the teams are finding difficulties in finding the right documentation. So they know that they have a lot of documents out there, but they don't know how to or where to fetch them basically. So that's where we're using a Microsoft SharePoint 2013 basically to as a main repository, and we also use OpenText repositories for archiving information. So I would say that SharePoint 2013 is basically the live documentation, and OpenText is the archive documentation.
Can you give us a sense of scale, just in terms of I don't know? Do you calculate in terms of number of documents, or like what is the weight of the document library that you're working to address?
Sure. So we're talking about around 200,000 documents, approximately, like live documents in SharePoint, and we're talking about don't know the exact number in OpenText, but it's about like 10 terabytes of documents for the archiving documents, which is quite a lot.
Significant, yeah.
Yeah. So as I said before, the main struggle is basically to locate those documents, and not just the documents, but the content of those documents, the metadata associated to those documents. So users have to perform searches, intelligent searches, in order to actually fetch them, but they don't know how to do that. So we have to, as a part of the digital strategy, we need to teach them and taught them to fetch the information that they want, so they can get the right information as quickly as possible. So as a core tool, we're using this service that's called Fast Search, that ships with SharePoint 2013, which is a sort of like a Google-like search engine, basically, that searches for any documentation throughout the organization, and it works very well. It's very fast. So the search engine is basically capable of pre-indexing a lot of information in a massive way, and providing personalized information, exploiting all the user data and the data mining capabilities, big data, and all that stuff. So it's a really powerful, fast search tool. The only problem is that it only fetches information from SharePoint. And that was a big challenge, because basically, in terms of percentages, SharePoint is only at, say, 35-40% of the documentation. So it's the live documentation. So we've got a 65-70% archiving information that we would like to fetch. And this is where VI Insight, comes in to the rescue, because we needed a connector to facilitate the fact that fast search can actually fetch information from OpenText as well. And not just that, but indexing all that information, all the content, all the metadata, everything, associated to that information, so the users can actually get like every single document or every single piece of information they want.
Can you talk a little bit about implementation of the connector? How easy was it for you to get these systems talking to one another? And more importantly, from your user perspective, what was the impact? How quickly did you feel the impact of users, having to learn how to use the tool in the most effective way, and then figure out how, and then just sort of be open to the wonders of having all of these data sources tied together?
The implementation was challenging. I mean, it was complicated, and that's a good thing, to be honest, because I have to say that it's a pretty complex product. So it's not a next install. Oh, it works perfectly. No, it requires a lot of setup. It requires a lot of tweaking, and there's a lot of fine tuning that you need to do to adjust the results and to get the right information through. So I'm not going to lie about that, but that's a good thing, because that means that the tool is powerful and it offers a lot of possibilities. So we wanted to explore those possibilities to the full, and we spent like a good between 3 months setting up the connector, and that's because we wanted to ensure that we made the most of it. And we did. It really did, because it works perfectly at the moment. And the going back to the original question, or the second part of the question, sorry, the users are very pleased. They are very thankful, because OpenText by default offers a search functionality, but it's so complicated. It's basically and it's so unfriendly. My users don't want to use it. They said, no, I don't understand how the search works in OpenText.
The search is all great until you have to teach 2,500 people regex, right?
Yeah, that's right. So they were all complaining about the OpenText search, and plus it's not integrated with our SharePoint solution, because obviously we have an intranet where you can actually navigate to the fast search, and from there they perform all the searches. Mm-hmm. So if they wanted to do a search in OpenText, they had to go to the OpenText system, which looks old. It looks like old-fashioned, and the search experience was terrible from a user perspective. We've mitigated all that, because we've accomplished the fact that now search sits only in one place, and it fetches results from SharePoint. From Microsoft, all the Microsoft ecosystem, and also all the OpenText ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And I remember basically one experience with the legal department. Legal department has always lots of information, and with this 1,000+ documents with that really detailed, highly detailed, right? And they don't know what the name of the documents are. So for them, they when they search for something, they search for a concept. They go, oh, I wanna fetch information about laws constraining the new FDA regulations, for instance. So sure. The fact that they are now able to perform those more conceptual searches, it's a massive improvement for us, because it's amazing how thorough the connector is basically telling the index, the fast index, to index every single word, comma, it's everything is indexed. So it's wonderful, because we can fetch pretty much like the whole organization in terms of from a digital perspective, which is wonderful.
So the challenge that you face in terms of the ballooning, data creation, right? The document creation that you have. These are problems that are going to continue, that you're going to continue to face. What is next for you now that you've got your archive and your live document system talking to one another? What's the next mountain you have to climb?
Well, that's a good question. 2019 is going to be the day that we're finally going to go to the cloud. So we've got green light. We have green light from the business to go to Office 365, and one of the things that we are pretty sure that we're gonna take with us is the fast search and also the VI connector for OpenText, because we're going to move all the data from our Microsoft repositories on premise to the cloud, to Office 365. But obviously, we're going to leave all the OpenText systems on premise. So the challenge will be to implement Office 365 with fast, with the connector to fetch information to the OpenText on premise. So we're changing the architecture basically.
Well, and now that you've done this, I imagine your confidence is overflowing that this is going to be an easy project. Just knock it right out of the park.
Pretty much, yes. I never thought it was going to be that easy, to be honest. I said at the beginning that it took us between 2 and 3 months to set it all up, but it was well worth it because we have everything very, very well documented. So if I have to do it again, it probably we'll do it in less than a week, which is amazing. And it gives us a lot of confidence because normally the companies have lots of different systems that they use, especially legacy systems. So why not integrate them as well?
It sounds like though your systems are fairly straightforward. Are you saddled with any legacy systems that you are needing to upgrade that you haven't talked about so far?
We do. We have a lot of Access databases and Lotus nodes. Quicker, I think it's Quicker, which is a product from Lotus that has some document repositories. We haven't established a migration plan as yet. So basically, we have sort of like a very reactive policy to when we spot something like that, we try to accommodate it either in the OpenText or in the Microsoft ecosystem. So we want to get rid of all the legacy. We have 3 main systems in the company. One's Microsoft, second one is OpenText, the third one is SAP. And believe me, 3 is more than enough. We don't want to find.
That's enough. Back off, everybody. Back
exactly.
Off. Well, this is fascinating and really gratifying to hear. Just as complicated as it was, that the rewards are that much more worth it to get everybody talking and speaking the same document language. If you had to pull out for us, one of your big lessons learned going through the process of integration that would help somebody who hasn't done it yet, what advice would you give the next Esteve Pharmaceuticals?
Okay, just make sure that whoever's doing the integration and is setting up the connector knows exactly either the functional requirements and the technical requirements as well. And I'm saying that because, as I was saying before, the VIA Insight connector has a lot of parameters, a lot of configuration that you need to understand very well. There's mappings that you can do from field to field. There's content types. There's a lot of things that you need to understand first, and it's not going to be a next installation kind of thing, because I would be very surprised if a company with the size of my company, which is about like 2,500 employees, can set up a connector in 2-3 days and say it's all working. It all works perfectly. Like my users are super happy, or no. So first they need to really focus on the setup, and then so they need to understand the functional requirements, also the technical requirements, and then there's the most important part, which is the user engagement. So you need to sell it to the users, and it can be tricky sometimes because users don't trust IT guys.
Wait, what?
I'm shocked. So basically, we hired a company to do the trading for us, to all the engagement process. So that was I'm not sure if I was supposed to say that, but so
you outsourced the hand holding.
Yes, that's right.
Great.
The engagement process. Yes, this is because normally the end user sees IT guys like monsters. They don't trust them. And it's they won't admit it, but it's very true. So I was in one of those sessions, and it was amazing, like, to listen to this guy that was explaining the whole story as it was a fairy tale. It was amazing. I thought, I can bring my kid here in this session, and then he will enjoy it.
And he's going to walk out pretty savvy and fast search.
That's right.
Look at that.
That's right. Is that, you see how easy it is? He made it sound so easy, so seamless. Everything's perfect. Everything works, and everything works. So yeah. So
that is brilliant. That is a brilliant coda to this story. Thank you so much, Xavier, for joining me and sharing the story of your integration, and wish you all the greatest success in your bigger migration next year.
Thank you very much, Fitz. I had a lot of fun. So
I promise we won't tell that you outsourced the handhelding. That's our secret.
You can say it. I mean, I have to admit, even though my role is sometimes it's very functional, because I normally talk to the management board and the stakeholders, and we need to roll out Office 365, so it's my job to actually convince the board to actually go ahead with projects like that. And you're normally talking to people that they are not very IT savvy. So you need to basically to say in very plain words. It was nothing compared to that guy. Honestly, I thought, God damn it. I mean, I sound very technical.
We're all growing, Xavier. It's nothing to be ashamed of. This is great. This is a great story, and congratulations to you and this wonderful storyteller. Keep him around.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to this show. We sure appreciate your time and your attention. On behalf of Xavier Ayala and Esteve Pharmaceuticals, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll catch you next time right here on Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight.